सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ
Chapter 1, Instruction on Self-Realization. Janaka said, Master, how is knowledge to be achieved, detachment acquired, liberation attained? Ashtavakra said, to be free, shun the experiences of the senses like poison. Turn your attention to forgiveness, sincerity, kindness, simplicity, truth. You are not earth, water, fire, or air, nor are you empty space. Liberation is to know yourself as awareness alone, the witness of these. Abide in awareness with no illusion of person. You will be instantly free and at peace. You have no caste or duties. You are invisible, unattached, formless. You are the witness of all things. Be happy. Right and wrong, pleasure and pain exist in mind only. They are not your concern. You neither do nor enjoy. You are free. You are the solitary witness of all that is, forever free. Your only bondage is not seeing this. The thought, I am the doer, is the bite of a poisonous snake. To know, I do nothing, is the wisdom of faith. Be happy. A single understanding, I am the one awareness, consumes all suffering in the fire of an instant. Be happy. You are unbounded awareness, bliss, supreme bliss, in which the universe appears like the mirage of a snake in a rope. Be happy.
So until now, any questions or any needs of clarification or doubts? If not, we can continue with a little bit of the commentaries and teachings from the transcript of my Guru, Swami Paramarthananda. And then whoever have a question can raise the hand.
Bravo, Sue. Every human being is subject to the laws of karma. He goes through both favorable and unfavorable situations. No human being can avoid challenging situations. To face all the challenging situations, the most important virtue we require is self-confidence. Unfortunately, every challenging situation knocks on this self-confidence alone first. Self-diffidence is the direct experience when we have such trying situations. When we don't have confidence in ourselves, because we have lost it, situation can be physical illness or any situational problem. We naturally seek help from outside. When everything goes fine, help is not required. We have plenty of confidence. When we need self-confidence, it gets knocked off. I look for support from outside, and I expect them to give me confidence and support. To our disappointment, we don't get confidence and support. Most of them give me a lecture on what all mistakes I did in the past, a big lecture of wisdom. They advise. This is the most inappropriate time you give advice. Generally, all people do this. I just require somebody to tell me, don't worry, you have the resources to tide over the issues, or say, we will face the situation. When others are talking about the mistakes we have done in the past, my confidence further gets weakened, as it's adding to my guilt that I'm not intelligent enough to take decisions. Isn't there anybody to help me or support me at all? There's an utter feeling of loneliness and helplessness. It is one of the powerful expressions of samsara, a sense of loneliness and helplessness. This every human being feels often during his lifetime. This is more prominent when situations are not favorable. This becomes more prominent in old age, as physically and mentally we are becoming weaker. I seek help from others, but the human beings do not know this fact. Others don't want to give help and confidence, since they really don't care. Those who are close and around me won't understand. I need confidence and support. They don't understand and tell me the cause of problem. So I have to find some method. Scriptures come to our rescue and give confidence building measures. How can we handle this diffidence? How can we handle the sense of helplessness? Veda gives two methods, one in Veda Purvabhaga, other in Veda Antabhaga. In Veda Purvabhaga, scriptures talk about seeking help from the Lord. Throughout the Gita, Lord Krishna speaks of this. In chapter 18, with your mind fixed on me, you shall cross over all obstacles by my grace. But if you do not listen due to egoism, you will perish. If only a person seeks help and confidence from me, I will give him. One method is to remember I always have the Lord with me. The very thought I am not anatha. I have got nata, the Lord. I have the Lord to help me. The very thought boosts my confidence. The beauty is what I require is not actual help from the Lord, but the very thought that I have someone to help me. The very thought gives me confidence. What a human being actually requires is not help, but the thought that I have someone to help me. The confidence helps me discover the inner resources to handle the situation. So what I require is offer for help, but not help. If the offer for help is not there, I can go through more psychological strain. The feeling I have help from outside. I find enough internal resources to handle the situation with confidence. Veda Purvabhaga says, with help of God, you build this confidence. Scientific research says people who have faith in God have greater immunity. Whether God is there or not, we're not discussing. Just the thought that God is there to help helps. One method of solving the problem of self-diffidence and helplessness is bhakti. Whatever be the concept of God, this helps regardless of the religion, concept, or definition of God. Seeking help when you need help from the right source is intelligence. Whichever devotee desires to worship faithfully any particular form, I stabilize that very faith of that devotee. Instead of world dependence or people dependence, it is better to depend on God. The very thought that I have God to help me gives confidence. Instead of outsourcing, I insource. This is what Veda Purvabhaga offers. Then comes Veda Antabhaga. What you really want is not help. I have somebody to help. The thought gives me confidence. Instead of that, why can't you say differently? I don't require help. Discover this fact. I don't require help from outside. I have strength and power to handle any situation. When I conclude I need help and seek help from others, and others don't give me help, there is a problem. If I decide I don't require help from outside, but have the inner strength to handle any problem, I don't depend even on the offer of help, I drop all forms of dependence. From God dependence, why can't you come to self-dependence? Start entertaining the powerful thought. I don't require help at all. I am the source of my own strength. To develop this thought pattern, Vedanta gives the teaching of our own real nature. Instead of shifting from family to God, why can't you learn to depend on your own self? Gaining self-knowledge and changing the thought pattern is the teaching of Vedanta. Self-knowledge is, I'm the truth of the entire universe. I don't have to depend on the world. The entire world of Anatma is dependent on me, the Atma. Therefore, I'm I-dependent and have all the strength in myself, even if I seek help. Mithya world cannot give me help. Why can't you use the knowledge and change the thought pattern? Samsara is not caused by the event itself, but event-centric thought pattern. Like the son who offered help to come down for a mother's cataract surgery. Just the thought of offer helps. Specific cause of samsara is the thought pattern. External events are only samanya karanam. Internal thought pattern is vishesha karanam. Nididhyasanam process. Instead of blindly and mechanically preserving notes and cassettes, why don't you use it to change the thought pattern? I have the strength to confront any situation in life. At the philosophical level, it's true. As Atma, I'm dependent. As Atma, I'm independent is true. Psychological level, it works in facing situations. The world, karma, cannot affect me. I have all inner resources when I entertain this thought. I feel confident. Aham Brahmasmi. I never complain of helplessness. I never develop a sense of loneliness. Remove sense of loneliness and helplessness through self-knowledge. The process is called Nididhyasanam. I entertain these thoughts every day, deliberately in the morning. Nobody got any questions?
I do. It's okay to ask?
Sure, go ahead.
I have added a camera so it slips. There was a phrase that said, fix the mind on me. And I'm always looking for, during the day, where to put my attention. Where should I stand? I was hoping you could say a little more about that.
Yes, of course. Very important question. For somebody who is looking for protection from the world, we can call him a samsari or a karma yogi, because he's putting all his investment for help out there in the so-called external world. And sooner or later, he will experience a lot of suffering and a lot of disappointment. And then somebody who is focusing and investing in God for receiving help and support, we can call him a karma yogi. We can call him like that because he's worshipping God as something external, something distinct from him or her. And he's waiting for this support and help. So this, of course, is much better, this formula, than to depend on the media world and friends and the relatives and the so-called external world. But nevertheless, if you are experiencing God as something external, you will also end up in a kind of suffering, because you still didn't realize your true nature as God himself, because your true nature is God. And When you try to make God as something external when it is not, then of course this will create a lot of suffering. And of course it is much better to focus on this process and pray to God, even if it is for you something external or distinct from you, than to depend on the world. But at the same time, God as Saguna Brahman, God with form of any kind, and God as distinct from you, is still mithya, still in the level of impermanence, in the level of not real reality, let's call it, or not real truth. But for those who are not ready to experience God or Brahman, Nirguna Brahman, the formless God, as his or her own nature, his or her own self with capital S, then of course it is much better than to focus in receiving help from the so-called outside world. And then we have a third level of spiritual maturity where you don't require anymore any support or help from even from God, because you are experiencing your true self with capital S as Nirguna Brahman, as Brahman itself. So you can support the entire Mithya Jagrat, which means the entire universes, and the entire apparent beings together with apparent universes. And you can also support all the objects which are apparent in the universes, but at the same time, you know that you don't require any support because you are the support of all appearances. And what you really are cannot be affected and cannot be harmed by what appears in you, the screen of consciousness, awareness, Brahman. But that is the ultimate level, the ultimate spiritual maturity, or what we call self-realization. So there are this kind of three, let's say, levels of attitude or mentality. I don't know if you want me to elaborate more on that.
Maybe just in a practical way. So throughout the day, I like to just keep bringing my attention back instead of just mindlessly, moving through my day in the world. So I just kind of bring forth that in me, just that God presence throughout the day. So, some paths say come back to your breath during the day. What would you recommend as far as where to put our attention?
Yes, it is dependent of your spiritual maturity. If you can concentrate on that presence that you are, which encompasses everything around you and everybody and the entire universes, then you don't require to practice any kind of breathing or any kind of focusing in the breathing or all these preparatory practices. If it is difficult for you to focus on that Saksi Chaitanyam, which is your true nature as witnessing consciousness, then of course, yes, it is very helpful if you can focus on the in and out of the breath. This at least will bring to you a kind of mindfulness, a kind of presence, at least on the level of the body-mind complex. But as soon as possible, you must try to recognize and to be convinced that what you are is this presence which does not have really a location inside your head, inside the skull, behind the eyes or behind the nose. And then if you will manage to do that, and you will be able to recognize and be convinced of that, then you don't require anything else anymore. Then the only thing that you require It is just to make it a permanent situation. And then you are what we call a jnani, a self-realized one. But during the day, most of the people, they are acting in a mechanical way. And for those who are on that level of a lot of mechanical activities during the day, yes, different practices such as focusing on the breath or focusing on using the senses as gates to awareness is also very good practice. So it can be not only the breath, it can be also the seeing, the sight. So for example, you look at a flower as you are walking. And in this moment, you can recognize that you are the sight. You are not the body-mind complex or the flower, but you are the sight itself. This awareness, this knowing principle is what you really are. And this makes really to appear the body-mind complex, the flower, and the entire universe. Without the presence itself, which makes its appearance through the sight of the flower, you can use it as a gate to awareness, your true nature. So actually, whatever you see, whatever you are experiencing is only knowing. There is one quote that I wrote many years before. It says, the absolute truth is that there is only knowing, knowing, knowing. So what means that really? It means that everything consists of knowing and nothing else. Everything is only the knowing principle. With other names, awareness or consciousness or presence. Because if you were to remove this knowing, this presence, this awareness, can it really appear anything at all in the first place? Is it possible?
No, I think there's only knowing.
Exactly. For everything to appear and for everything to say that this is that, for example, this is the sun, this is a flower, this is a rose, the requirement is the presence, is the I am. It is this beingness. And this beingness is what you truly are. And there is only beingness. There are no beings. So when you say me and the flower, or me and my cat, or my dog, and the universe, actually there is only beingness. There are no distinct things or distinct beings. And this beingness also acts like presence, and it can reveal, it can accommodate everything that appears on it. It's like the screen in the cinema. Without the substratum of the screen, or the background of the screen, you cannot watch a movie. So when you watch the movie, you become fascinated with the scenario, and you forget that you are actually looking at the screen, and the only essence there is the screen. Even if the appearance is there in the movie. The same with whatever you look upon during the day, all throughout the day. Whatever you see is your own self. There are no others. There are no things. There is no universe. Whatever you see is you consciousness, shaping or modulating itself as whatever you see. Now, the more you recognize that, the more often you recognize that, and the more often you are convinced about that, and as soon as possible, you become in a permanent state of recognition and conviction that there is only that knowing principle, awareness, consciousness, Brahman, the better. Because then there is no suffering. And suffering is due to misconceptions. this false belief that I am an individual being inside this body, mind complex, or behind the eyes, behind the nose, inside the skull. And out there is the external world and external beings and external objects. And all this universe is just something else. And I'm just a part of this universe. All this is just a delusion. And it is the same with the dream state. For the dreamer, whatever the dreamer is experiencing is actually very real. If you go to the dreamer and say, what you see right now is only your imagination and it is only a dream, the dreamer will not like it, will not believe you. But only when he will stop to be a dreamer and when he will wake up in the morning, then he can accept by fact that what was the experience in the dream was not real at all. It was only a dream. So now he cannot protest anymore. He will accept, yes, it was a dream. But during the dream, the dreamer will protest if somebody will say to him, it is just a dream, what you see. That is the problem. The experienceability, transactability, and utility, which makes this apparent world to look real. So the more you're focusing on these teachings, which is a real teaching that is coming from the rishis, the Upanishads, Advaita Vedanta, and the more you try during the day to recognize that, these teachings, and to make these teachings your own truth in the heart of your heart, the better. And you can start, of course, through more easy practices, like focusing in the breath, doing everything not with a mechanical way, but everything consciously. Like, let's say you want to drink just a glass of water, and there is the water in the table. How many they recognize the movement of taking the glass from the table and bringing the glass close to the lips? Feeling in the lips the glass, for example. Experiencing the liquid in the mouth, and then all the movement of the liquid down. How many? I believe not so many. So just to drink a glass of water, it can be a great practice through awareness presence. The same when you eat. You take with a spoon the food, and most of the people, when the dish is empty, they recognize that the dish is empty. How many spoons they were able to be aware of the taste, let's say. So everything can be practice. Everything can be in a state of meditation, nididhyasanam, during the day. There is no need to sit down to do nididhyasanam, the Vedantic meditation. You can do it all day through, all day long. Then the progress and the procedure will go very, very fast. Of the procedures of recognizing on a permanent basis that you are this consciousness, awareness, the knowing principle, Brahman. Just by being aware as often as possible of everything and recognizing that what you are is that awareness itself, which is encompassing and revealing and accommodating anything. So there are no things distinct from you, awareness, consciousness, Brahman. Everything is you. You, of course, not Cyril as a body-mind complex. Everything is you as consciousness, awareness, Brahman, of course. Okay?
Dimitris has a question.
Yes?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes?
Okay. Yes, I wanted to ask before you said about focus on awareness. So, but do you mean to be awareness? Because is that even possible to focus on awareness? As
Look,
I didn't
awareness.
get that.
Yes, yes, of course. You cannot be awareness because you are always awareness in the first place, and there is only awareness. What you can do is to be aware that you are awareness, not to create a new and to become awareness. You are infinitely this awareness, and there is only awareness. You are that. But sometimes you forget that you are that. And you believe, yes, you believe that you are the body-mind complex called Dimitris. But Dimitris is only an appearance, is only a nama-rupa, names and forms, a label, a superimposition on you consciousness. Just like there are no waves in the ocean. There is only water. But we say, and we are somehow hypnotizing ourselves, that there are waves in the ocean. No, there are no waves in the ocean. There is only water as essence. But we agree and we say this water becomes waves. But there is no inherent existence in the waves other than water itself. So the problem is that you identify with Dimitris, you believe you are Dimitris, when in reality you are the consciousness, the principle, the knowing principle, which is revealing and accommodating this Dimitris as an appearance of a body-mind complex. So rather than say I'm Dimitris, say I'm awareness consciousness, the knowing principle or Brahman, but I can accommodate this appearance called Dimitris. I can reveal it. I can accommodate it. This moment, you are aware that you are awareness. Another mistake that millions of people are doing due to the misappropriating of the teachings and the exploitation of the teachings from fake gurus of non-duality so-called path, or the so-called Neo-Vedanta or Neo-Advaita, is that they say, me and my awareness. So millions of people, they believe that they are a body-mind complex, which has awareness, that the property of that the body-mind complex has as a property awareness consciousness. This is a terrible and tragic phenomenon. Like I'm Dimitris and I have awareness. This is huge. This is something like a real tragedy. Just like most of the humans, they believe that somehow with a couple, it appears a baby. And this baby gradually develops a nervous system and the brain. And from the nervous system and the brain appears consciousness. That is a huge mistake. That is a tragedy. So most of the people, they believe that consciousness is a property of the body-mind complex or the brain, which is a terrible mistake, a disaster. When in reality, it is exactly the opposite. There is only consciousness, awareness, Brahman, and what appears and disappears is only an appearance. Nothing more than that. Just like in the dream in the night. There is only consciousness, awareness, and whatever appears as a dream is only an appearance. In the dream, it may appear a whole universe and beings and objects and situations and events and relationships and transactions. But what is really there? There is only consciousness. There is only the dream, the reality behind all this is only consciousness. There is no other reality than that. Even if it appears that all the transactions are real and the universe is real and the beings and everything. So this is the problem. A lot of people, they believe that they have awareness consciousness. They are somebody, an individual identity, or a body-mind complex, or a person, or an ego, or a soul, which has as a property consciousness awareness. But this is the most terrible mistake that somebody can do. Because then you are a very limited being, a very limited apparent being with a lot of problems and a lot of limitations and a lot of suffering. And it is impossible for you to ever to have permanent bliss, peace, and happiness. It is completely impossible when you believe that you are a limited being, a human being. I don't know if you want me to elaborate more on that.
Yes. So throughout the day, just be awareness, but recognize that you are awareness, right?
Yes, you cannot say being awareness, because anyway, you are awareness, just
Yes.
to recognize.
Yes,
To
yes. All
recognize
right.
that.
Okay.
Instead of
Thank you.
recognizing and believing that you are a body-mind complex called Dimitris.
Okay, but you can take some time out and just be the awareness without engaging in tasks or something. And that's what I mean by be awareness.
Yes, but that is also includes a kind of a trap, because at the end of the day, what is required is to be on a permanent state of recognition and conviction, not when you have this favorable situation where you can sit down, close your eyes, nobody's disturbing you, you have free time. Then you will be somehow not enough prepared for the day long, all day long, to be in that state of recognition and conviction. So during the day, not only when you are sitting for meditation or only when you want to relax, to be in this recognition and conviction, but as much as possible during all activities and during all day long, because this is the point. It's not enough just to enjoy this peacefulness and recognition during a kind of meditation session. You must really extend to the maximum during the day this permanent recognition and conviction that I am this awareness, this presence, this knowing principle, Brahman. I'm not the body-mind complex. I see the body-mind complex now is eating or walking or discussing with somebody or doing his work. But at the same time, I know that I am this presence, this consciousness awareness, which is encompassing, enveloping all this universe with its apparent beings and apparent objects and this apparent Dimitris. Then you will succeed and you can be in that state of moksha very, very soon. Because moksha is nothing else than to realize the great Mahavakyams, the great statements, such as Aham Brahmasmi or Tat Tvamasi. I am that. Tat Tvamasi. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I am awareness, consciousness. This is what we call self-realization, enlightenment, or moksha. And this has to be, this recognition and conviction must be on a permanent basis. And then the apparent others will call you a jnani, somebody who knows the truth, and he is now free. But in reality, the true nature is always nitya mukta, eternally self-realized one, eternally enlightened, eternally with moksha, our true nature. And this is what we are. And even when we speak about the we is due to the dualistic language. But in reality, there is no we. There is no he, there is no she, there is no it. There is only that as Brahman. Yes, to come back to your question, it has to be during all day long, not when we want to enjoy this presence and sitting down on a sitting meditation session, but as much as possible, all day long.
All right. Understood. Thank you.
Welcome. Anybody else?
Hi. Yeah, in verse number 9, I mean, it's just what you've been talking about anyway. It says, a single understanding, I am the one awareness, consumes all suffering in the fire of an instant, be happy. When I was listening to Swamiji, he was talking about how instead of thinking I am body-mind complex, think I am this non-dual awareness. So instead of identifying, as you've been talking about the body-mind complex, instead of identifying with the body-mind complex, identify with this. But it's just the way he phrased it. For some reason, it sounded so simple. And normally I'm like, it's abstract. I don't understand. I've got nothing to hold on to. I can't put it into practice. And he just said, just a different thought. Instead of thinking body-mind complex, think I am the source of everything, including the body-mind complex. And then as I was walking around the park, I thought, okay, I'll do this. Instead of thinking I'm Andrew, I think I am the source of everything, including my thoughts, the pleasure, the pain, my body. And it was possible to get some kind of recognition. And it just reminded me a little bit of when you have a lucid dream, and there comes that moment where you don't debate it. You don't debate it. You don't think, oh, you know, the whole universe in your lucid dream is you. It's coming from your dreaming consciousness. And is it as simple as that then?
It's not that simple, because due to trillions of lifetimes, you used to believe that you are a body-mind complex or an individual identity. So how that can be so simple when for trillions of dream lifetimes you believe that you are an individual identity?
I don't think it's I don't think it's simple, by the way. I think it's incredibly difficult.
It is incredibly difficult due to the patterns of trillions of lifetimes. So what we call vasanas, the predispositions of the mind, is that I am an individual identity, distinct from other individual identities. So for this reason, we need all the tools and all the help and support that a holy, authentic lineage, a guru parampara or sampradaya, can provide to us. Exactly because it is terribly, extremely difficult. And when we apply all these methods and methodology and tools and teachings and Sravanam and Mananam and Nididhyasanam, and at the same moment we support all these procedures with leading a spiritual lifestyle according to the Dharma Sastram, then, of course, it becomes more and more easy. But without removing any of the instructions, any of the instructions application as per the scriptures and the authentic lineage, the Guru Parampara. And then the more you do this recognition, the more you try to recognize your true self as awareness, consciousness, Brahman, the more it becomes easier. So it has an accumulative effect, what you do. When you are following all the instructions from the Guru Parampara and the scriptures, then the success is with guarantee. And there is a huge promise from the path of Advaita Vedanta, from the Guru Parampara, that if you really focus, if you really you're focusing on these instructions and you apply them all, then even in one lifetime, yes, you can succeed.
So,
but without sorry to interrupt you, but without removing any of the application of the instructions.
So what I was doing was correct, but the depth of that experience, I mean, I can't say it's a profound experience, but I got a feeling for the practice. And the depth of that experience will be accumulative, as you've just said, over time. And by relying on all the instructions, it'll get deeper, deeper, deeper. So I'm just starting, really. I'm just starting.
Exactly. And you need to not only to say it like a parrot, but you need to try to recognize and being convinced. For example, let's say that this body-mind complex called Andrew is walking in the park of Pedion to Areos, your one of your favorite places. And you walk inside the park and you see, as you walk, a beautiful flower. This moment, ask yourself, what is aware of this beautiful flower in this park? Is Andrew? Or this knowing principle, consciousness, awareness, presence, Brahman, which cannot by any means being imprisoned in the skull of the body of Andrew. This moment, try to use the non-location of awareness, presence, consciousness, the knowing principle or Brahman. Become aware and notice to the maximum that this awareness, presence, consciousness cannot be located. It is not inside the body or the skull of Andrew's body. It is not inside this park. It cannot be imprisoned in Greece or Europe or the planet or the solar system or the galaxy or the universes. It doesn't have a beginning point, a central point, or an ending point. It is this presence, consciousness, awareness is beginningless, endless. It is vast. It is huge. It is spaceless. It is timeless. It is formless. It doesn't have the form of Andrew. It doesn't need the name Andrew. And it does not have the name awareness, consciousness, or Brahman. We just give it a name, but it doesn't need a name. It is pure presence, pure knowing. And this, you need to recognize, not just to say, oh, I've heard in the scriptures of Advaita Vedanta or in a YouTube video, or I have read this in a book, or I have listened that from Satchitananda Guru, and I need to believe it. No, it's not about believing or trying to persuade yourself. It is about recognizing it. It is about being convinced about it. And the sooner, the better. And one way is this recognition of using the senses as a gate to awareness, to presence. Like, yes, what is looking now, this Satchitananda, this is the Sanskrit term, this Satchitananda, witnessing consciousness, I'm not able to locate it anywhere. So how that can be an individual identity or a person or a soul or a human being, since it is cannot be located by any means. How it can be an individual identity or a person or a soul or an ego? It is vast. It is beyond even the everywhere term. Because when you speak about everywhere, this is a mistake of New Age, so-called fake path. They say, oh, you are everywhere and you are one with all the others. And they try to persuade you of this crap. But in reality, there is no everywhere. There is no space and time, and there are no others. So you can, let's say, connect with them or being one with them. Because there is only that. There is only consciousness, awareness, Brahman. Who to connect with whom? And where that can happen, since there is no space and time. When and how and where. Because space and time is are only concepts, only labels or thought forms. So what you truly are is beyond all these thought forms, concepts, or labels. Namarupa, names and forms. Namarupa is the Sanskrit terms. So a lot of people, unfortunately, they receive all this fragmentation of the teaching from misappropriating the teaching or exploiting the teachings from these fake teachers, and they start creating such a confusion inside them that nobody can save them anymore. It is so tragedy for some people to believe on all this non-duality path or Neo-Advaita or Neo-Vedanta or New Age or all this nonsense, which are made out there only for making money of these fake teachers and accumulating wealth and for their ego gratification. So it is very important during the day to recognize the Mahavakyams, the great statements, and to use the Mahavakyams as a tool, as a gate for the truth to dawn upon us. Because if the truth will not dawn upon us, then whether we are repeating unstoppingly, I am Brahman, this will never help, because it is only a parrot can do like that. It's like you will take a parrot and you will make it to say all day long, I'm Brahman, I'm Brahman, I'm Brahman, I'm Brahman. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I'm Brahman, I'm Brahman, I'm Brahman. Is it possible that the parrot will become a jnani? Impossible. So we need to recognize the truth of Mahavakyams and to make this truth the truth in the heart of our heart, and to never to be just a gathering of informations, data.
Yeah. So when I was walking around the park and I was thinking, everything is arising from me. I am the non-dual awareness. Everything I look at is arising from me. And I'm trying to get the genuine recognition, like trying to shift my thought pattern. So like I gave the example before, the lucid dream, but I'm trying to get some feeling for this is true, that everything is arising from me, including Andrew. This is okay practice.
Yes, but you can extend it with other means as well.
As before.
Yes, and with other means as well. There are other instructions as well, that I will share as the classes are going on. There are many things that you can add to your practice as you do it right now. You can add other things as well, like the one of recognizing that this knowing principle that you are, consciousness, awareness, Brahman, or presence, is something that cannot be located. This one of the methods. Another method can be that you try to recognize the opposite and to be convinced of the opposite, that there is no Andrew.
Yeah.
So this is another method. Like instead of recognizing that you are this knowing principle, consciousness, awareness, Brahman, or presence, you try to recognize that where is Andrew? Why Andrew cannot be found? Why Andrew is only a ghost? Sorry to tell you, you are a ghost. But it is the truth. Andrew is only a ghost because Andrew can never be found. If I were to ask you, show me Andrew, can you show me Andrew? The identity called Andrew, or let's say, the soul called Andrew, or the individual identity called Andrew. Can you show me that?
Impossible.
Impossible. You can say, yes, I can show you the body, the physical appearance of the identity called Andrew. That is acceptable. Of course, you can show the body. You can say, look, I'm here. This is the body of Andrew. But this is not what you believe that you are. You say, this is my body, isn't it?
Of course.
And then I want you to show me the one who says, this is my body. But the more you will try to show me your body, yourself, who says, this is my body, the more you will never be able to do so, even if you will try for trillions of years. The one who says, this is my body, does not exist. Is only a thought form, ahamkara, it is called in the Vedantic terminology. The false belief that I am this body-mind complex and I am an individual identity, it is called ahamkara. And this is only delusion. This is only illusory. So yes, for example, this is another method. Instead of trying to recognize this witnessing consciousness, awareness, presence, Brahman, you can try to recognize if Andrew can be found by any means. And many, many other things that and methods that I will reveal to you.
I think we've run out of time. I don't know if the meeting just suddenly stops, but it's around about the time now. I don't know what happens when we run out of actual time. Okay,
let's then finish for tonight and for today. And we can continue this dialogue in the next week.
Okay.
So thank you all for your participation. And we'll see each other next week. Namaste.
Namaste.
पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः